It's not as simple as it seems when looking at the latest 4.6 characters, and this is the best time to investigate the whole situation about Arlecchino and the featured banners. But first, a major announcement. Thanks to Samsung Galaxy for sponsoring today's video. Guys, I have some crazy news. I'll be joining the Galaxy Battles Genshin Impact event on April 21st, 12 PM PST, where I will participate in a 16-player tournament that's made up of all your favorite content creators. And the best part, I'll be competing for a whopping $40,000 in prizes, and half of it I win goes to you, my community, which also includes the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra phone. You see, I will be playing in this tournament with the new S24 Ultra. And I gotta say, Genshin runs silky smooth with max settings, thanks to the newest Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 processor. Seriously, if you want to achieve peak gaming, this is a must-have. And the screen, I mean, geez, just look at this beauty here. Quality high-definition display, and you can even set the brightness up to 2900 nits with Vision Booster, so you can even game in the sunlight. On top of this, S24 Ultra also comes equipped with a high-resolution 200 megapixel camera to help level up your video and photo game. While the latest features like Note Assist with Galaxy AI can help me organize my information overloaded notes with a quick summary, formatting, and even translate them. So mark your calendars for April 21st, 12 PM PST for the Galaxy Battles Genshin Impact Grand Finals. Come support me by tuning in to Samsung US YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook channels to catch all the action. And make sure to learn more about the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and purchase it by using my link in the description. So it seems like the 4.6 update is going to be loaded with some new content, but a couple of things have definitely stood out compared to the rest of the patch, both in a good and weird way. And so let's first talk about Arlecchino's potential, and then in a moment I will also talk about the state of 4.6 banners and what to look out for. Now, let's talk about Hu Tao. Arlecchino. Okay, so here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people online compare our dear father to the funeral director, and I'm not gonna lie, there are some similarities which I'll point out when I'm talking about Arlecchino. You see, in the most simple way I could describe Arlecchino's playstyle would be that she will use her skill, apply a debuff called Blood Depth Directive on enemies, and then after setting up the buffs with the rest of the team, you switch back to her and use Charge Attack to clear these Blood Depth Directives and absorb them in the form of Bond of Life. And the moment this happens, Arlecchino gains Pyro Infusion, and her normal attacks will deal greater damage. But this comes with a cost, and after each normal attack, she will consume a certain amount of Bond of Life. That's pretty much how she works in the most dumbed down way possible, but there are of course a lot of caveats, which I'll cover the moment she becomes available on global servers. However, there are some crucial details that I think are worth addressing now. For example, it was explained in the livestream that the bigger her Bond of Life is, the better the damage of her normal attacks is going to be. In other words, her damage will look really great the first few seconds because it will be front loaded. Like, imagine this Bond of Life I have right now. It's only an example I'm trying to prove, but let's say with this first normal attack she deals 100,000 damage. Then after the attack, Bond of Life is reduced, and next hit will deal, I don't know, perhaps 80,000. Again, it's just a rough example I'm trying to present. I literally have no idea what her damage is going to be, but the point is, she will most likely feel amazing the first few combos you unleash with her. Another big thing to consider would be that, thanks to her passive talent, she gains a pyro damage boost, but nobody in the team can actually heal Arlecchino. Only she can heal herself with her burst. You see, when Arlecchino uses her burst, any Bond of Life remaining on her will be cleared off, and based on the amount she had, plus how much attack she has, she will heal herself. That's it. That's the only way you can restore her HP. Now, is that a bad thing? Honestly, it's just a restriction that had to be put in place because how Bond of Life works is that instead of healing yourself, this annoying buff first needs to be healed, like filling up an extra HP bar, before the character can receive actual healing. So in Arlecchino's case, you don't want to reduce her Bond of Life with healing coming from other teammates, because that means her damage potential immediately nosedives and she would become useless. However, no healers means hello shielders, right? Yeah, and I think this is where Hu Tao comes into the picture, because the thing is, aside from some niche Farina comps, most of Hu Tao teams also rely on a shielder, usually Zhongli, as you can see here from this latest community data. And just like Arlecchino, Hu Tao also heals herself with the burst. Now, to be fair, Xingqiu is a very popular teammate for Hu Tao, and his rain swords do restore health for Hu Tao. So for Arlecchino, it's a bit more of a rough situation, since her burst is the only thing that can heal her, and because of this, I expect the shielders, especially the Osmanthus guy, will be the most popular and comfortable option when you want to play with Daddy. Now, on the flip side, unless there's some super secret potential that was not disclosed about the burst during the livestream, I believe it will be totally fine to burst with Arlecchino every other rotation, because besides healing and some AoE damage, most likely the majority of her potential will be residing in her normal attacks. So this means you won't need to stress so much about building energy recharge on her. And I think looking at this grainy footage, it seems like her skill generates 5 particles, so she even provides good amount of energy just by herself. Still, there's another big thing that we need to talk about. How well will Daddy-O get along with others? Well, I think it's fair to say that Benny is probably going to be her favorite son, especially if we consider the situation of White Tassel. You see, this weapon is going to be a godsend for free-to-play players, because not only does it provide a beautiful critical rate substat, but it also provides a massive boost to normal attacks. However, since this is a 3-star weapon, the base attack is bad. But thanks to Circle Impact coming from Bennett, his attack boost will be able to compensate this problem. I'm not saying this White Tassel is going to be the best free-to-play option for Arlecchino. I'll obviously do the calcs on launch, but it's definitely looking very promising. And speaking of which, the 4.6 artifacts have also been revealed, and this one in particular, called Fragment of Harmonic Whimsy, provides generic 18% attack from 2 set, which is like whatever, but the 4 set, oh man. When the wielder's bond of life increases or decreases, for 6 seconds they gain 18% damage bonus, and this can happen 3 times for a total of 54% damage bonus. And we already saw in the livestream how often the bond of life keeps shifting around. So this basically without a doubt is going to be Arlecchino's best in slot artifact set. But remember, unless you've saved up thousands of resin, and even then, you might not be able to obtain good pieces until very much later. So in the meantime, can she use anything else on day 1 when you want to play with her? Well, the easiest answer would be Gladiator's set. It provides 35% damage bonus to normal attacks, and if you've been playing the game for a while now, you probably have some decent pieces already. Otherwise, Gilded Dreams could also work, because if we go back to how well she plays with others, it's no secret by now, a lot of people will use her in vape teams. However, it's important to understand that since she spams normal attacks, unless there's a special ICD, following the usual rules of causing reactions with normal attacks, she will trigger a vape every 3rd hit or so, maybe a bit more often, but regardless. It's not like with Hu Tao, who can cause Vaporize with every single charge attack, since it doesn't have any ICD. So in Father's case, something like Gilded Dreams can work as a temporary solution, but I don't expect Vaporize damage to make up the majority of her potential, which is great because this means comps like Overloaded Chevy and Mono Pyro will most likely have no problem with Arlecchino's playstyle. But yeah, overall, I'm probably gonna release a couple of videos analyzing Arlecchino's performance, because there are a lot of caveats when it comes to understanding her. So make sure to subscribe to my channel to not miss out on this. And now, let's talk about the banners. So, in Phase 1, Lyney and Arlecchino will be the featured 5 stars, while in Phase 2, Wanderer and Baizhu are going to be available to pull for. Now honestly, I think these banners are pretty good, but that's only when looking at just the 5 stars, since as of making this video, there's still no word about who will be the featured 4 stars. But it's pretty clear that the first half of the 4.6 update is going to be focused on Pyro units. Lyney works best in double or triple Pyro teams. His damage potential can be very high, especially if you invest into him vertically. On the other hand, Arlecchino will definitely overshadow this poor guy, just like a successful father would do to his son and cause him to gain an inferiority complex. But seriously, I think it's pretty clear that the majority of people will be interested in this Harbinger. Although I would say just wait for the reviews to come out first, because hey, who knows, maybe you'll find Lyney more enjoyable to play than Arlecchino. Now, when it comes to the second phase, obviously, as always, only decide if it's worth pulling after the livestream that happens the next week, because especially in this current situation, Clorant and Siegewind still haven't been added to the game. And there's also Sethos, who was briefly introduced in the 4.6 livestream. And on top of that, I know a lot of you weren't able to pull for Furina, or want to obtain more of her constellations. So who knows, maybe she will be available in the 4.7 update. This is why second phase is always great when it comes to deciding where to spend your Primo Gems. Still, if you watched one of my latest videos, you know that Baizhu has been utilized a lot in Furina teams, and he overall provides really good support. So if you want a healer that can also boost Dendro reactions and help with resisting interruption thanks to his pseudo shielding, he is a great choice. And of course, when it comes to Wanderer, he is legit one of the best units to explore the game with. That flight ability is just so convenient, and the cooldown is really short, so it's like gaining a malfunction flying mount that can still do a pretty damn good job. And on top of that, the dude can also put out some great damage, both in Exploration and Abyss. So yeah, 4.6 update is shaping up to be pretty exciting, and I hope you found this video interesting. As always, you can help support my channel by subscribing and pressing the like button on this video. Thanks for watching, and see you very soon.